Hola, mi gente, ¿cómo está todo? Hello, my community. It's Chief Roca coming to you from the Allentown Police Department podcast studio. I'm joined today by Detective Luis Garcia. Say hello, Luis.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Please share the live, and we're happy to be here with you.
So, bringing us to today for the monthly update, I wanted to come to you and talk to you about what's going on in Allentown Police Department and some of the things, initiatives that we have set up. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is some of the crime stats and firearms. I believe we have a graphic for this that's going to be displayed on your screen. As you can see, we have been taking a lot of firearms into custody, and a couple of incidents that are there with relation to the crime stat. We're seeing a lot of larceny. Now, that could fit anything from theft from motor vehicle, theft from stores like retail theft, that type of thing. So when I was a West End captain at my meetings, I would typically tell people, please make sure that you're vigilant in locking your doors. If you see something, absolutely say something, because that's imperative. And keep your porch light on, watch out for your neighbors. It's important that you remember not to keep your valuables out in plain view. Sometimes people that are walking by will look in, test the door handles, and we want to make sure that they don't have the opportunity to make you a victim as relating to larceny. And one thing that we're going to be doing too is putting out some information for the community to ensure that you're aware, to lock your doors. I'm not saying that there's a crime spree going on, but typically you want to harden yourself as a target. You want to make sure that you put your lights on, you report any suspicious activity to our communications center, you send a tip on tip 411. Those are vital things that can assist us because, believe it or not, the community plays a huge role in kind of at this crime prevention, crime reduction strategy. And it's important that you guys also are made aware of the stats. And as you note, 224 firearms off the street, that's huge. Those are guns that are not getting into the hands of individuals that are choosing to be malicious with them. A lot of times conflict resolution that occurs, they're going to be able to go ahead and talk it out, but sometimes they don't, and they decide to engage in violence of that nature. We want to help in stopping that, but it's not just the sole purpose of policing. We're going to work with our community partners out there. We're going to develop those skill sets. We're going to show that we can kind of meet on the level so that we're able to talk to people. Which brings me to my next point. We were able to recently make 2 arrests in a fairly quick manner of individuals that did fire weapons from road rage incidents. I want to give a big thank you to our patrol, our criminal investigations division detectives, Lehigh County detectives, and especially the community. There's a lot of times that we go out, we'll ask for video, we'll ask for assistance with information, and that's how we solve crime, is those bits of information, and we put that together, and then that case is presented, and we're able to see it through to a full prosecution to hold a person accountable, and to also, more importantly, bring justice to the family, to the victim, to the community, because that's what it's about. It's about healing. And oftentimes when these incidents happen, you'll see us come back into the community with a trauma-informed care approach, where meaning that we're going to help in healing the community. It's not just about locking a person up and putting them in jail, but it's also about that outreach work and going to the community and being able to let the community know, hey, what's happening, what's going on, what took place here. And if you start to feel a certain way about an incident that happened in your area, that's completely normal, but you're not at it alone. And we will offer resources, referrals, information that you can kind of reflect upon so that you're able to, talk things through and kind of get that off your chest, so to speak. The transition now is, we were very fortunate and lucky to receive a federal grant. We got $53,000 from the U.S. Department of Justice to support the purchase of technology to assist us with crisis negotiations for a rescue phone. And we were informed of this successful application by U.S. Senator Bob Casey and Congresswoman Susan Wild. So thank you guys for that. We very much appreciate it. Now, you might be sitting there at home wondering, wow, $53,000 for a rescue phone. Why so expensive? I can go to the store and get a phone for a lot cheaper. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the rescue phone is essential because it not only provides technology to police, but it also provides the way that we're able to connect with a person that may be in crisis, a person that may be barricaded inside a house and thinking of doing violence. This way, like I always say, communication is the vital foundation so that we can grow as a department, move forward, and establish that connection with the individual. because we want to help people. We want to make sure that they get the help that they need. And sometimes people go through rough times. We can reflect upon the pandemic. People are stressed out, or just because a person wants to, is not exactly happy with maybe their life circumstances. And we want to be able to kind of help and connect with them and be able to talk to them. Sometimes the face-to-face isn't the most viable way, or there's some instance where we need to protect not only that person, but the community at large. With that, I want to talk about a little bit of some of the arrests that we've been making, drug arrests. Our Vice unit has been very busy, thanks to the tips that are coming in for our tip 411, for the complaints that are emailed in, or for the information that is passed through. You might think that nothing is being done at certain times, but that could be further from the truth. The truth is that our officers, our detectives are working very hard, and to make an investigation happen, it does take time. But it's important to know that we're going to obviously be transparent and let you guys know some of the updates that happen. And this particular one, on October 21st, our Vice unit and members of our emergency response team responded to a residence in the 200 block of North 5th Street, where they conducted a search warrant. And recovered in that location was quantities of cocaine, a loaded firearm, U.S. currency, packaging material, and through the investigation, one individual was placed into custody, and they were charged with a person not to possess, use, manufacture, control, sell, or transfer firearms, possession with intent to deliver a controlled substance, that being cocaine, which is a felony, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. It's vital. I want to repeat this again. It's vital that we go after the individuals that are selling the drugs, cocaine, heroin, whatever type of drug it might be. It's important that we do not allow a culture of lawlessness to permeate in this city. We need to make sure that we stand together as a community and say what is right. And what is right is to be respectful of our laws and our rules that we have here, our ordinances in the city of Allentown. We pass those for a reason. Just as I hold myself accountable to you, it's important that we hold ourselves accountable to each other. And one of those ways is in respecting the laws that we have on the books here. And it's not about arresting people. It's not about putting them in jail. It's about making sure that we know what is not acceptable here. And that's selling drugs, that's committing violence, that's doing things that are going to take our community down, make people feel uncomfortable, make people want to, leave the city of Allentown. And this is a great and beautiful and vibrant city. And we are making such great strides. We see a lot of great development happen, but like I always say, it's not about the development, it's about the people, and we need to be there for each other and in support. And that being said, also our partnership with our nonprofits, our community groups that are empowering people. I want to give a shout out to Darian Colbert from Cohesion, our Promised Neighborhoods out there, Self, Unidos, a lot of different organizations doing the good work out there, because we are one piece of the puzzle. We're not the entire puzzle. We're one piece of it. And I'm always going to advocate for help from our community and be able to collaborate and do the right thing, because that's what it's about. We're able to make more movements. Excuse me. We're able to go ahead and be able to achieve a greater reach. Maybe have some of the youth of Allentown look up and say, hey, that's something I want to get involved in, and be able to have that ability then to make sure that, hey, you know what, maybe I want to be a police officer or a firefighter or a paramedic, or I want to be involved in community advocacy, because it's huge. When we have our relationships right, when we're able to talk to each other, that's what makes growth. That's what makes education. Sometimes we might not agree on everything, but we're able to come to the table and talk about it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that civil discussion piece, and that's what's important, and you're going to see a lot of that. We were able to also head out to Mountainville on October 6th. Officer T.C. Cunningham of our crisis negotiation team brought some of our crisis negotiation equipment to the community group and informed them about the work that they do, that we do in the community. And he's going to be making his way around to various community groups in the meeting. And you can see some pictures on your screen now, which include our crisis negotiation truck, some of the equipment there. And that equipment is important because those are good pieces that we're able to get into an area if there's a call, such as a barricaded subject, where we can establish conversation with the individual. And so if you are wondering, and you might be sitting there, you're like, well, what are my community groups? Where are they? You can definitely reach out to us and we'll inform you. We can also post that on our Facebook so that you have an understanding, because it's important to get involved, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of times we'll find ourselves maybe sitting back on the couch watching TV, maybe seeing a story on the news and saying, I'm fed up with that. What can I do as one person? I'll tell you what you can do. I can point you to my good friend Yamilet down in the ward, who was talking about some of the trucks that were coming there, and she stepped up and she, gathered up her neighbors. She made it known the situation, and these are voices, ladies and gentlemen. It's about empowering the voices, what we as a community want to see, what problems we want to address, and that's just an example of somebody that took the initiative to step forward and engage their strength and come to like kind of a partnership with us so that we're able to address that and resolve situations that may be detrimental to our community. So you're going to see Officer Cunningham come out there to a nearby community meeting coming soon. Detective Garcia, I believe we have a attempt to ID theft case, a flyer graphic that's coming up. Theft in its very nature is something where people will go into a store or something of that nature and take items that obviously don't belong to them. And we take that very seriously. We put that out, attempt to identify. I know there's been some comments that they can't quite see the car, but we have to work with what we have. A lot of it is information. When we identify somebody, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be arrested, but it's something that can aid in our investigation and to go forward. We want to make sure that people are treated fairly, respectfully, and within the rules of the Constitution, because Constitution is our primary guidance there. I want to also talk about the Halloween parade that took place this year. It was awesome. I'll tell you, it was awesome to see that. Setting back on Hamilton Street and knowing that the APD Honor Guard, our Police Athletic League child mentors participate, as well as our officers there. You can see some of the photos up there. They were coming through Hamilton Street. It was great to see the young kids in costumes. It always flashes me back to when I'm a young kid, and I went to Dodd Elementary, and we would do our elementary school walk, and I would have my costume on as my other classmates, and we were able to go ahead and enjoy it because we knew that trick or treat was coming and we were going to get some candy. So that was always some good memories to go through that. And I was honored and humbled to be selected as a judge at this year's Halloween parade. And let me tell you, I saw a lot of good things, a lot of good floats, a lot of good energy there. I recall remembering seeing a drum band, marching band from Baltimore. They were phenomenal. All local groups that were here too. There was a lot of nonprofits. There was some people running for elected office. There was a lot of different folks that were out and about. So that's what makes a parade, ladies and gentlemen. It's about, highlighting the good things that are happening in our city and making sure that we're there and we're making things happen. We were able to also attend the fire commendation ceremony that took place on October 11th. The fire department reached out and they wanted to provide some awards to some of our officers for an incident they were involved in. And as you can see there on the graphic, we have them standing by the Allentown fire truck there from our Allentown Fire Department. I was absolutely thrilled to learn of this and to hear of what exactly they did. And it was vital that they assisted the fire department as they did. And receiving a certificate of recognition for this year was Sergeant Hendricks, Officer Holbeck, Officer Madero, Officer Cunningham, and also Officer Pearson, Officer John Terozzi, Officer Lonnie Klosaritz, and Sergeant Christy Correa were presented with the awards. And it speaks a lot. I always articulate this, that public safety in the city of Allentown is by far probably some of the best in the Commonwealth, if not the country. And I'm not saying that just because I'm the police chief in Allentown, but because it's the truth. Our brothers and sisters that are in the fire department and the paramedics here within the police department, we're striving to provide professional police, fire, and EMS services to the residents and visitors of the city of Allentown. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to grow. It's vitally important that we look to the future and we just don't plan for the now. We got to have a big picture and we got to look at where we're going as a police department, as a fire department, as paramedics, and know that we're going to work very, very hard to improve ourselves, and however that might look like. We've entered into a partnership with Cedar Crest College to take a look at what we're doing and see if we're doing the best. And that date is going to come, and we're going to make decisions based off of that, because we have to find what fits for the city of Allentown through our data and that type of thing. Moving on, we had a trunk or treat with Sergeant Leonard and Officer Geek. That was on October 14th. At the Chi Learning Academy at 1033 West Washington Street. Detective Garcia, do we have any graphic on that?
Y- Yes, Chief. The graphics are when we have to apologize to everybody when we are doing these live. This is very in depth, so the graphics are about 20 seconds behind. But yeah, there should be some pictures coming up. Beautiful pictures. Again, we've attended these trunk or treats. This is something that obviously we have a lot of fun with, and we're proud that our administration, obviously not only seeks these events out and have us attend, but also attends as well. So yeah, they should be coming up.
Thank you, sir. And in one of the photos that I'm seeing now is a young man dressed in a police uniform. I want to recruit him. If we can get his family an application, I think we could really use him. And there's some young ladies in the foreground with Officer Geek there. Absolutely great costumes that they have. But that's what it's about, folks. It's about enjoying our community, enjoying our time, and being able to be out there and once this pandemic is over, which I feel that it's getting to that point, many more people are getting vaccinated, many more people are doing what they need to do to get past this, and I commend you guys for doing that. Preschool visit we attended. Detective Garcia, Officer Geek, and members of our community outreach unit went to the Elevation Child Care Center to talk to the students about being a police officer and also about providing Halloween safety tips, because sometimes, and I remember when I was a young man going to trick or treating, I would have a big bag of candy. I'd bring it home. I'd dump it out, and my mom would check it out. Me and my sister, we'd dump out our candy and make sure that everything was good. And you kind of eat the good ones first, and you leave some of the ones that maybe you don't like too much for the end, or you would trade it with your respective family members. That was always a good time. But at the preschool visit, you can see that we're engaging with our youth because they're the future. Our youth are probably the most important asset that we have as a city. We need to empower them. We need to support them. We need to be able to have them to know that there's a path to self-improve and have that support from everybody in the city. I know that we were establishing not the police department, but the city overall establishing a council of youth. These are all good things that are happening that are going to empower our children and to make sure that they're the leaders of tomorrow, because that's what it's about. It's about giving back. It's about mentoring. It's about making sure that these kids, make it forward. And speaking of mentors, there was a situation recently where one of our PAL kids was being bullied at school. Bullying is never appreciated or something that should happen, but it does, unfortunately, and we need to do a better job. But essentially, one of our PAL mentors, our child PAL mentors, observed that this kid was feeling in some way, and they were able to speak to the child and kind of come up with solutions and empower this young person so that they're able to overcome that. And that's what it's about, folks. It's a beautiful thing. It's about making sure that you can identify, recognize, and then provide that support. It's common that kids experience trauma, and we want to be able to kind of help through that procession there. And as police, we're not going to solve it completely, but we can work with our schools, we can work with parents, we can work with our community groups to provide that support for our children, because that's the most important thing that we can do. The First Ward Community Group on October 14th, the First Ward Community Block Ambassador took another step to look at developing more relationships in the neighborhood, and they got CPR certified. Allentown EMS was present. They provided the training to the group, and what better way to give an actual viable skill so that if something happens where you are there and you could provide some help, why not? It's something that is valuable. You can see they had a mannequin there. They were able to do the pressure and the breaths and all that good stuff that's involved in CPR. And I think that the attendees there had a really great time. And that's something that you can see at the community group. It's something that you can bring up to our officers that attend the meeting that you're interested in, and that it's something that is hugely important to be able to do that. And it's key that we as a community be able to have that assistance and that partnership with not only our other public safety partners, but also with our people out in the community. And that is huge. So thank you to everybody who attended that. Thank you to EMS for coming through and providing that training to our residents, and being able to have that in the case of an emergency, they can step up and take that action as well while emergency response would be coming. On October 28th, we had the Iron Pigs Charities. We joined Cops and Kids Lehigh Valley at the Iron Pigs with their Sweets and Treats event. it was an outstanding time. I'll tell you, myself and Sergeant Leonard were there, and to see the kids in their costumes, we set up a little booth, and we were able to sign books for the kids. I felt kind of honored with that, because I'm thinking to myself, who am I to sign a book for a kid? But they were actually very happy. But we were there with some students that participated. You'll notice in your graphic that there was some young ladies there. They're from Liberty High School. They came out to volunteer some of their time, and we were there to hand out some of the materials. And the kids got to pick 2 books, and we were able to sign them. And I'll tell you what, you saw some great costumes. The police officer costumes were great, and there was. Trying to remember the fancy one that I saw. There was pirates. There was a pink Power Ranger, and my partner Sergeant Leonard, I think that was his preferred one. If he could give a trophy, he would. But so for the pink Power Ranger, Sergeant Leonard is definitely giving you that thumbs up. And we want to be able to just say thank you to everybody that came out that day, because it was a great time. And Miss Beverly from the Cops and Kids event, thank you for having us there and to be able to share reading knowledge with our children, because that's what it's about, folks. It's about creating those environments where our kids can prosper, where they can move forward, and they're able to do the good things that are out there. Some of the events that are coming up, the Red Hot Hoops Challenge at the Salvation Army is occurring tomorrow from 3 in the afternoon to about 5, maybe a little bit after. We have about 14 teams that are going to be playing. We're going to be, I believe, streaming it live. Is that correct, Detective Garcia?
Yes, Chief. It's going to be streamed live. We are going to try to do a sports broadcasting play-by-play. It is a wonderful event, again, connecting with our youth, connecting with our nonprofits, our organizations, and just raising money for the holidays and for the Red Kettle and helping them out. And our goal, as you always talked about, is be out there, be present, and try to help folks get out of this the COVID-19, after the COVID-19. So, this is Salvation Army had a lot of issues trying to raise money because of COVID-19. So we're gonna help them out, and APD's coming with a team. So we'll see. Officer Newsome, School Resource Officer Newsome, Officer Harris is actually going to be there. Detective Harris, excuse me. And so we're ready. Coach Schneider will be there. I mean, you got a lot of good teams. Alan Daroff, executive. It's just going to be a great event. And stay tuned. We have 2 videos at the end. I know the Chief's going to mention it, but stay tuned to the end, so you'll be able to watch that Red Hot Hoops Challenge video.
I hear that the gymnasium there is kind of cool. I remember seeing it. Can you talk a little about the gymnasium over at the Salvation Army?
Yeah, I mean, Pat Brown, they teamed up with Pat Brown, and they redid the gym. I mean, I remember being a kid and playing there as a kid, and the floors were a little bit slippery, and it was a little bit older, and then time took its toll, and it just got a little bit worse. And then they teamed up with Pat Brown's office, Senator Pat Brown, and it's phenomenal. Wait till you see it. We're gonna go live 3 to 5:30 p.m. around there. And so check out our Facebook. We're going to try to do the play-by-play, and we'll see who wins the championship. They got trophies. They have it's just going to be a great event. And each team, just so you know, Salvation Army set this up. It's a 3-point shootout. Each team is raising money to help families in need. So it's not just about basketball. It's not just about us trying to win. It's for us to try to help folks win in the community and help folks out. So yeah, it's beautiful, Jim.
Thank you. On November 11th, we're going to be having a Coffee with a Cop event. Again, November 11th. That's going to be at the Riverside Restaurant, 123 Hamilton Street. I believe it's going to be at 2 p.m. We're going to be starting that. And it's just going to be coffee and conversation. So please make sure, if you're around, stop through. I know that's a holiday, but we're going to be out there. And if you have a time, please stop through. I'd be happy to speak with you. Any conversation is good with me. I'll talk to you about whatever you guys want to talk about, because it's important that we communicate and that we get that done. Shifting gears, November and December, the officers really look forward to that, because we have our No Shave November time. And they're able to pay a fee, basically, to kind of offset the general order for appearances, and they're able to grow a beard. And in growing the beard, they're able to kind of have that hair display there, but it has to be kept nice. But we're going to be able to have a Shop with a Cop event from there, with the funds that are raised, and then some donations to a charitable organization. And we truly do want to thank the community and the officers that take a part in that, because there's a lot of people that make that happen. And on December 18th, we're going to have Operation Escort Santa. Myself and the police department, with the assistance of the fire department, are going to escort Santa throughout the city. We're going to be visiting different areas. That's throughout the entire city. It's not just going to be Center City. It's not just going to be the South Side. We're going to go throughout the entirety of the city. Mountainville, Franklin Park, and the First Ward, Overlook Park, Midway Manor, the communities groups. They're going to be hosting events, and we're going to be stopping by along those routes. So stay tuned for those details on that. But it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to see some exciting things from Santa, and maybe a couple surprises at that point. So stay tuned for that. Upcoming meetings. Again, before I read about the community meetings, I want to say how important it is to come together. A lot of times we can accomplish more by being together, and if you live in the neighborhoods in Allentown, it's important that you know where your community group is, so you can take a part and you can have a voice. And it's a combined thing, and it's important that we're able to make things happen in that manner. That we're able to talk, we're able to communicate, and it's not always going to be the same person that you're going to see. It could be different officers. And just to go down the list here, on November 1st, Midway Manor will be having their meeting, which passed already, but Sergeant Leonard and Officer Cunningham were there talking about the crisis negotiation team. And then on November 3rd was Mountainville with Officer Melber, and he was present for that. I saw Janet Keschel posted about that one previously, so hopefully got a lot of good information from that point. On November 4th, which is today, the First Ward, Officer Perez will be there to discuss. Also today is the Rob Area Group. Detective Garcia and Officer Cunningham will be present on that one. On the 9th is the 8th Ward. Officer Terozzi and Officer Cunningham will be present to discuss at the community group. Also on November 9th is the West End Alliance, and that'll be over a Zoom with Sergeant Leonard. On November 10th will be the Fairview meeting with Detective Garcia. And on November 17th is a Muhlenberg Zoom, also with Detective Garcia. And on November 23rd will be Riverfront at 501 Ridge Avenue with Sergeant Leonard. There's also a meeting on November 9th, a new community group, Franklin Park Community Group, and that's located at 1421 Turner Street, and that's going to be at 6 p.m. I want to talk a little bit about just that. You're going to see a lot of different faces from Allentown. We're recruiting, we're retaining a lot of people, and we're able to have, different sets of people that go through the meetings. And it's important to get to know your officer. And you might be thinking, well, I don't see them out on foot, Chief, or I don't see them stopping to say hello. We'd like to stop and say hello to everybody, but sometimes there's calls for service and we got to drive to different locations and kind of can't stop and say hello, but know that we see you, we hear you, we know what's going on out there. I see some complaints coming through about speeding, about different issues like that. Know that we are taking action on those. Many of our officers are out there, conducting speed timing. I know that our traffic unit does come out, hear the complaints. They have highlighted sections where they're going to do enforcement. So if you do have locations where you want to see this enforcement take place, please reach out. And also, we have speed boards that we're going to be instituting throughout, and they're going to be mobile, so we're going to be able to set them up in different areas. So citations are going to happen for moving violations, because driving is absolutely important. I've seen my fair share of people speeding. I see my fair share of people cutting through stop signs, red lights. I experience it, and we pull the vehicles over and we give citations as a lesson, and also as a violation of the vehicle code. But it's important to know that officers also have discretion. And at times we're able to give a warning or something of that nature, but that's all dependent upon the situation, because it's key to be able to kind of talk about, educating the public, making sure that people who are operating a motor vehicle are properly licensed, they have their registration, they have their insurance, and they're moving forward. With regard to dirt bikes, I recently met with Mike Schlossberg and his team about crafting specific legislation at dirt bikes and ATVs, and that is something that is in the works. So I'm hopeful and remain focused on achieving this legislation so that we as law enforcement can reduce that illegal dirt bike riding that's occurring not only in the city of Allentown but throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But I think this is a state issue, and it's something that we as residents of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania need to look to our legislators to have this legislation so that we can make that impact, not only through law enforcement but through other means as well. So I just want to give you guys a little update on that. We're going to have an upcoming recruiting drive. In December, we're going to be opening up our Bill 66 list. Those are for officers that are already certified, and then also our competitive list. And that's probably going to run for about 30 days. So I'm going to tell you, initially, it's probably going to go from December to the end of January. Or the middle of January. So watch our Facebook, watch our website. We're going to put that information out there because I've seen some comments there about the civil service process, and that's going to be something that's going to be, one list is going to be for those who are currently certified as officers, and another one is going to be a competitive list where it'll be a rank score, and that's going to be the way there. But it's definitely something that I encourage anybody that wants to pursue a career in law enforcement to apply, to be able to go through the process and make sure you don't know unless you take that first step. And I would say to you, when I first joined the police department, I did not think I was going to be chief of police. I will be very honest with you. I looked at the office, so to speak, and said, I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep doing how I work and what I do. And that's what it's about, folks. It's about empowering the people that are out there. I was born and raised in Allentown, and this is my way of giving back. I want to make sure that we as a community are together in this. And again, sometimes we might not agree on things, but we're going to make sure that we're on that same page and that we have that respect for each other, because I respect you. I respect the work that you put out, the opinions that you have, that's the beauty of our country, of our society. It's about being able to maybe have different ideas, because maybe I have an idea and I hear from you and it changes my mindset, because maybe it makes sense, maybe it's more efficient, maybe it's something that will be more impactful. So that is something that is huge, and it's something that I very much value in having across you, for you guys to understand. And I just want to say that we have definitely done something which is pretty cool, I think. We have our new LinkedIn page. Please connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Allentown Police. It's definitely something that we want to be as transparent as we can be to our community. Connect with us. You don't have to have a Facebook page to see our Facebook content. If you're just interested, you can definitely just go on Google or a search engine, type in Allentown Police Department Facebook page, bring it up. You'll see our different things. We are going to, again, begin our APD on the Road series, which highlights our officers, follow them through to different things, maybe different calls, visiting with different places, to kind of have an understanding of the day of an officer, and it's because I think that's important. I recently invited council to come out on a ride along to experience and see what we do out in the community with regard to mental health and our outreach work. It's beautiful, the things that we're doing. I want to give a big shout out to Ibn Kwawe, otherwise known as Q. Yesterday, he received an award from down in Harrisburg, and I was very thrilled to see that. I sent him a message saying I wish I was there to see you guys at that time. I was at City Council at that point, that's why I couldn't be down there. But Q is a phenomenal guy, and he has a passion for bringing people that are in addiction to get them into treatment, and to make sure that they live the sober lifestyle and that they go through, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's about providing that support, and we have a lot of those good relationships out there, and Allentown Police Department is progressive in those ways, in that we are partnering with people, we are addressing mental health concerns, we are reaching out to our community of unsheltered individuals, we are reaching out to our individuals that are going through addiction, and also our mental health consumers, because it's about communication, folks. It's about making sure that we as a society, as a city, take care of those that are less fortunate, and we got to be able to do this together. There's no one right answer. We have great partnerships with Lehigh County, with our federal friends, and we're here to move this department forward. One of the things that I want to also talk about, is our crime prevention home safety tips. Detective Garcia, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, Chief. So again, last month was Crime Prevention Month, and we put out a lot of information relative crime prevention. And when we look at crime prevention, we attended some training yesterday at Cedar Crest, and when we look at it, it's no crime is ever going to be exactly the same, and so we have to be able to adapt to it. We have to be able to find solutions to it. And so you'll see a lot of stuff on our Facebook, whether it's crime prevention relative to your home, crime prevention relative to your vehicle, even walking in the street at night. Something simple as walking and looking down at your cell phone and maybe getting a bit complacent and not paying attention to your surroundings. So we are going to continue to do that. Moving forward, we're working with our crime analyst, as the chief wants us to work with our crime analyst heavily to see the problem areas and put out reminders. What we notice is that when reminders and folks getting re-victimized is an issue. So we are working together with our community outreach unit, our analysts, our patrolmen, our detectives, everybody together working crime prevention. So we're going to continue to work that aspect, and it's extremely important to us. So stay tuned for more to come on that.
Thank you, Detective Garcia. I appreciate that. So what we're going to close with is we're going to play 2 videos. The first one is going to be the Red Hot Hoops Challenge promo video that we're going to do. Again, it's going to be like 12 to 14 teams. They're going to have 4 players on a team. It's going to be a 3-point shootout. I'm really excited to see that. It's going to be pretty interesting to see who's going to be the champion in the end, so to speak. But I would submit to you that everybody's a champion for just showing up and taking that chance and opportunity to do that. But, there has to be a winner sometimes. So it's going to be pretty neat to see who that's going to be. And then on a more somber note, I want to take a moment to thank and give an appreciation for the community for reaching out on a personal loss for myself with the passing of K9 Kanto. It was very much unexpected. I was hoping that we would have had another year. Unfortunately, though, that wasn't the case. I sincerely put my faith in God, and I know that things happen for a reason. So that being said, I can't thank the community enough. It's hugely important that that I recognize Kanto for who he was, what he was about. And I'll tell you, from the moment I met him when he was 11 months old until he passed just the other day, he was always my shadow. He served the citizens of Allentown faithfully. He was a dog that would never be without me. Like, he was always in my area, always my shadow. I'm sure those of you who have pets can relate. He had his fun time. My wife would spoil him once he retired when I became a captain with some grilled chicken and some eggs. So I give a shout out to my wife for doing that for him, because he very much loved that. And we're going to play a video kind of to show some of the highlights of Kanto, and I do want to thank the community. I want to thank Abbey Glen Regency down in Quakertown for the services that they provided to Kanto. It meant a lot to me and my family, and I want to say thank you to the community. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining today. If you have any questions, any concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. We determine what our future holds. I'm going to repeat that. We determine what our future holds, and that's because we're going to do it collectively, and we're going to do the right thing, and we're going to make sure that the city of Allentown is on top. You're going to see a lot of more good things coming from our police department. The men and women of our department, I can't thank enough for the dedication day in and day out that they are doing. This job is difficult at times, but they're able to do it. They're able to step in every day, put the badge on, and be able to go forth. In closing, I do want to thank City Council yesterday for passing the motion for increasing our complement. It's very valuable. We're going to do the right things, and we're going to be able to get to where we need to be. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for those 2 videos that I talked about. Have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. mi comunidad, ¿cómo está mi gente? How you doing, everybody? This is Chief Roca from the Allentown Police Department. I'm joining you here from the Salvation Army at 8th and Gordon. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the exciting news that's going to happen in this event. We're going to have the Red Hot Hoops Challenge. This is a benefit for the Salvation Army for the Red Kettle campaign that they're doing. We're going to have a lot of different teams. 4 players on the team. It's going to be a 3-point shootout. It's going to be at different positions. We're going to get the teams together. Watch out because APD is putting the team together.
Muy buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es el mayor Ismael Correa, oficial directivo del Ejército de Salvación en el pueblo de Allentown, Pensilvania. Queremos darle la cordial invitación para que se unan a nosotros en un torneo de 3 puntos en básquetbol el día 5 de noviembre de 3 a 5 de la tarde aquí en el Ejército de Salvación, el 144 de la calle 8 Norte en Allentown. Tenemos diferentes equipos compuestos de personas de la comunidad, algunos con grandes habilidades deportivas, otros no tanto, pero es un momento para que la comunidad se una, nos ayude a recaudar fondos para nuestra campaña de la olla roja, así que los invitamos al reto del canasto caliente.
Here I am in the newly renovated gym here at 8th and Turner. This is the Salvation Army up here on the 2nd floor where many great basketball players have come through. But it's your time. You thought I was retired? I'm out of retirement now because I'm up here and I'm ready for the Red Hot Hoops Challenge November 5th. From 3 to 5 in the afternoon, we have teams coming from all over the city of Allentown. Yeah, the Huskies are coming in from Deer Park. The Canaries hopefully will be here. The Vikings from Central Catholic. And we are going to shoot for this community. 3-point contest. We're going to shoot from the corner, we're going to shoot from the top, we're going to shoot from the opposite corner, and you have an opportunity to get medals and trophies here at the Salvation and help our community of the city of Allentown.
We'll see you November 5th at the Red Hot Hoops Challenge. Final warning, police and canines, you're not sitting on a bike. Now I'm gonna call.